Hi everyone, this is Talty and this is a new basics video. This video is going to be about sanding and buffing your polymer clay, mainly about sanding. And well, let's see, why do you want to sand your polymer clay? Let's see, for example, this piece I have right here. It has a little bit of dust, it has some fingerprints, the top is not very even. Sanding will fix all of these problems. It removes the fingerprints, it can help you make some finer shapes or refine something that is kind of ugly like that, and removes lint and things like that. For example, this finished piece, this is very smooth, this is very nice to touch. The sanding also lets you see the effect, the glitter better. It's very pretty, it's very soft, smooth. And for example, this other piece, this is a mica shift piece. Sanding really brings the mica shift effect out, otherwise it's kinda dull out, it's not as notorious. So what you want to do to sand your polymer clay? First, you need to get, of course, some sandpaper. I like to use this kind of sandpaper that is like a piece of paper. You can also use those that are like bricks or sponges, but this is what I find. All sandpaper has a grit. The grit is written in the back, and this one is at 360 grit. The lower the number, the higher, or well, the coarser the sandpaper is. So I also use up to 2000, which is very smooth. It doesn't feel coarse or scratchy at all. I like to use this to begin with shapes that need a lot of work or a lot of polymer clay removed. You can simply take a piece of this by ripping it. It rips very easily, and I like to make small pieces kinda like this. This is what I work with the most. It's very easy to handle, but if you are going to work with something bigger, of course make a bigger piece. Get some water. Use warm water to help your hands, especially if it's a cold day, and maybe a drop or a dollop of soap here. It makes the water slippery and it's just easier to sand. Get your sandpaper in there for a couple of minutes. That makes it bendable and is a lot easier to use. And simply begin by sanding. It's very easy, I don't even know how to explain it. Just rub the piece of clay with your sandpaper. If you are doing a flat surface, of course it's easier, you just do small motions. If you are going to make a round surface or something different, move it around so that you can maintain the shape. And the water will also catch the dust from the polymer clay, this white dust. That keeps you from breathing it. Of course, it's not very healthy to breathe this, it's just a precaution. I will make a different video about polymer clay safety. Rinse your sandpaper a couple of times so that it doesn't clog. And just keep doing this for several minutes until you don't see the lint anymore or you don't see any more fingerprints. Just practice and you will know when to stop. Keep rinsing. You can also do this in a sink, but this saves water, of course. After a couple of minutes of sanding, your polymer clay may look like this. I don't know if you can tell, but it has some scratches. Those scratches can be removed by using a less coarse sandpaper, which will be a higher number, and making these scratches progressively smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't see them. From this I will go to a 600 grit, then maybe a 1000 grit. That will be enough to make your clay smooth. But if you want to really make it smooth and polish it, you can go up to a 2000 grit. That's a lot of work, so decide what's best for you. After lots of sanding, your polymer clay can become somewhat dull, especially if you are using a very dark piece of clay. I don't know if you can tell. That can be fixed by using a thin layer of glaze, but that's a sort of cheap fix. What you can also do is buff your polymer clay. To buff it, The easiest thing to do is use a piece of jean. This is a skirt. Try using a light colored piece of jean, otherwise the dark tint will sort of stain your polymer clay, and it already happened. To buff it, simply rub the piece of clay against the jean for a couple of minutes maybe. Or what I actually like to use most is a microfiber cloth. I find that the really small fibers do a great work polishing your polymer clay. So just do this until it is shiny and smooth. I already polished this part, I already buffed this part with the jean. And you can tell the difference from the bottom of the bowl, which is really smooth and shiny, and the sides, which still have the fingerprints and this part is uneven. So I really hope this was useful for you. Let me know if you have any other questions or other tutorials that you want me to cover. This is part of the 30 polymer clay basic, mostly daily videos that I have been doing. Let me know if you have anything else that you want me to do. So this is Talty, and I will see you later. Bye bye!